Harold will be quiet so Jason can do his presentation. We will let him go with his update. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, or good morning, I guess, Mr. Wickersham and Core and Bayless. I just kind of appreciate the opportunity to come and with me, myself, I'm Jason Dagger. I'm the project manager for the site of the Ridge Wind Farm. Also with me is Chris Shears, the Chief Development Officer for EverPower. So we're here just to brief the commissioners on an update to the project and talk quickly about the payment in lieu of taxes that is a piece of the project. So I passed out three basic documents that I wanted the commissioners to have. There's an updated project map of approximation of where the turbines are located. There's a pilot brochure that talks about the benefits to the community, as well as a document that was created by Bricker and Eckler that a lot of government entities use that talk about the reasoning for why the taxation structure for alternative energy zones payment for taxes were created. So I'm sure you're aware. If not, we wanted to make you aware that the project has taken some twists and turns over the last few years. We are looking at a little bit smaller project. There are 87 turbines that are approved and we are moving forward with in Hardin County. That project is, we'd like to have both projects or the whole project together with the inclusion of Logan County under construction late this year. There has been a road use maintenance agreement signed with Hardin County, and that is in play. And it does talk about the upgrade of the roads prior to construction. That similar document is with Scott Coleman, your engineer, for review now. And we wanted to just kind of give you an update on development. I'm going to let Chris talk about some of the benefits that the projects do bring in, and then we'd like to hear your questions.
Okay, Chris, you have the floor.
Thanks. Stand over here as Jason did. Yeah, it's about what Jason said. I just wanted to say a few words about a little bit about EverPower just real quick, just to give you a bit more context. So EverPower operates 7 wind farms with a focus in the northeast. We do have one out in California as well. And as you know, we've been working in Ohio for a number of years, both in Hardin and Logan counties and down in Champaign County. And so we're very excited about being able to move one of these projects forward after a lot of investment over a lot of years. It is a very large investment coming into Hardin County in that we're very focused on moving forward with that, and a lot of work going on around finishing up that development. Critically, all of the conditions and compliance with all of the power siting board conditions is a critical component of what we're doing as we work through the detail of all of that. So a lot of work going on around that to safeguard the interests of folks in the area. But specifically on Logan, I think from my point of view, and I said this to Jason, the question is, are these turbines going to be the remaining turbines that were not forming part of the settlement? Will they be a part of the project or not? And we'd love for them to be involved. We think, obviously, as a wind energy company, that there's benefits that those turbines would bring, both in terms of the investment, the clean energy, and payments from the pilot structure, if you were to vote for that to happen. But we are going to move forward in Hardin County. We would love to have the turbines in Logan as well. I would contend to you that the value of what the project will bring will be a significant benefit to the community. And obviously there are concerns, and I understand those. We've done a lot of wind farm developments over the years. We're very focused on addressing those concerns, and I'm very confident based on history that once the project would be up and running and the turbines in Logan County were up and running, that they be a valuable addition to the county. So that's all I wanted to say, was really just give the context that we're going to move forward in Hardin County. We'd love to be erecting some turbines in Logan County as well. It can certainly enhance the overall project, and the size of the investment into the broader community in this area.
So the last thing that I would add is, and then we'd like to take a couple of your questions, is we have submitted the application for the project through the Development Services Agency. They have that. They have a short time here to review that, and then they will be contacting you here in the very near future, if they have not already done so. But from my end, I'm under the assumption that they have not quite yet, but they will be shortly. So with that, you know, over the past few years, the project has changed. What questions do you gentlemen have that we can answer?
I don't have any today.
None today. They have not presented us with that application yet. We appreciate the update. If you have more information you want to send to us, be happy to do so. Happy to receive it, look it over. Thanks for dropping this stuff off today. We will review this. We read all of these things that come to us from lots of different sources and different people from all over the world. So anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, we're clearly focused on you know, this application, these 18 turbines that are in Logan County, and, you know, the benefits that we perceive coming forward is, you know, one of the pieces of this is that at least 50% of those have to be Ohio domiciled workers that work on the project. So this is going to be a significant employment opportunity for, you know, short-term construction, and then ultimately, and we have a place under review for a operations and maintenance facility where we will have you know, over 10 people full-time that will work there through the life of the project. You know, so there will be jobs, long-term jobs that move into the community. If you know, initially we'll have to bring a couple of our operators in, but then, you know, as you look at other wind farms, those local people who want to hire local people, they stay there. You know, they have occurred. So, you know, the investment, the jobs, and, you know, the tax revenue, and the key focus on the payment in lieu of taxes is that this is, you know, additional money that will be derived for, you know, specifically the schools, and it will not impact their school funding formula. So when you look at the context of payment in lieu of taxes, and you gentlemen are very familiar with business and business taxes, you know, this structure was created because wind generators were not classified and considered in the classification when the utility taxes were created in the 40s. So this payment in lieu of taxes, Senate Bill 232 that defines this program, was an update to the tax code and taxation for alternative energy and why it was created. So we understand that it's not perfect, but this is the avenue that you know, we have to go down. So
I'll just add one point to that, which may be helpful, is on the taxation question, which is, you know, conventional power stations have two big costs. There's the cost of building them, and then there's the cost of operating them and the fuel costs. Obviously, when you build a wind farm, you don't have the fuel costs. The wind is free, but you have higher capital costs at the front. And so I think a lot of these mechanisms around the country to get the tax structure right is a reflection of that. That you just, you know, a conventional power station doesn't have as high capital cost as a wind farm, which is kind of what property tax and utility tax sort of is leveraged on at a fundamental level. And it's really a reflection of the high capital cost of the project and the low operating costs.
As we've indicated, I think you've seen this and read the reports that when this request does come from Department of Development, what we plan to do is hold a public meeting, receive input from folks, talk to the school boards, talk to the townships, and then we'll make a decision sometime after that. That's the process that we plan to follow, so I want to make sure that we can do that, and I think we've told you as such. Anything else you want to add from either of you folks?
No, we just welcome the dialogue, and we look forward to your decision. As I say, you know, we have an open mind. We really hope Logan, you know, will come on board. But obviously, we respect the decision either way, and I think there'll be benefits flowing to the county from the turbines over in Harden
time. Thank you for your information. That concludes that portion. I know that Joe Hughes, where's Joe?
I'm back here and, too big a crowd.
Well, there's room for you to come up here. You've requested the next time slot, and if you're here and you would like to go right now, we would like to give you your time.
I would thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I would like to introduce a resident and, long-time, what else should I say? Go ahead.
And just make sure that the Fight to Win folks have asked for 5 to 10 minutes as well to give an update of where they are with the project, and we agree to give them their time.
I was under the impression we had 15 minutes.
15 minutes, sure.
Okay.
I don't think you see a stopwatch from me.
Thank you, Commissioners, for granting this time to speak with you. Today I'm representing Fight. I was actually the second paragraph says, my name is unimportant. I'm Kathleen Davis. Okay, thank you, Commissioners, for granting this time to speak with you today. I'm representing Fight the Wind, a group of citizens comprised from Logan and Hardin County residents who oppose industrial wind developments in our county specifically and our nation generally. As we look out the windows of this building to the south, we see the restoration of the Logan County Courthouse. You didn't ask for that storm, June 29th, 2012. Daily since you're faced with numerous decisions, many for which you've been praised and criticized. As public servants, thank you for your due diligence in the restoration research and for taking heed of public opinion. As the restoration nears completion, I'm sure you're proud. You jokingly refer to yourselves as the construction commissioners, a legacy of pride, and I do congratulate you. My name is unimportant. I prefer to speak as just one resident of Logan County. Many in this county now have histories and relationships with foreign wind corporations. And before I speak for Fight the Wind, I preface with a brief account of my history. Born and raised in Logan County, you may know. However, I ashamedly confess that at one time I believed my life's calling was to save the planet. During that quest, I served as a lobbyist and speaker for Central Ohio Sierra Club, an Ohio Environmental Council staff member, and an Ohio Farm Bureau intern, 3 organizations which today are at the forefront of propagating and promoting wind in Ohio. Back then, I intended to educate and persuade citizens and legislators who believe in the very romantic idea of green energy. And if education failed, I believed it would be justifiable to legally pressure and coerce citizens to get the job done. Later, having returned to Logan County to my beloved family farm, my uninvited storm arrived on March 27, 2007. I was among a dozen landowners in my area invited to an exclusive lucrative business opportunity. The invitation was extended to me by a neighbor. The seduction began with a PowerPoint presentation filled with photos of majestic white turbines dotting sprawling beautiful green vistas. These photos were, as all wind PR photos are, devoid of residences, businesses, buildings, people, and animals. At the meeting, landowners were handed term sheets and contracts. My term sheet promised $5,000 upon signing, $15 per acre during the development period, predicted to be 1 to 3 years, and $5,000 per turbine upon moving to construction period, and then somewhere between $4,500 and $16,500 per 1.5 megawatt turbine once in operation per year. Someone asked the presenters who were donning starched, creased, previously unworn blue jeans and patent leather loafers, or new, unsullied hunting boots, what are the disadvantages of wind projects? The response was verbatim, we won't answer that question. I left the meeting feeling violated. I'd chosen to leave the city and return to Logan County. First offense was calling this kind of development a farm. Second was the industrial usurpation of my property use, property value, safety, financial security, land integrity, and rural lifestyle, something I'd neither foreseen nor invited. In the weeks that ensued, we studied the contract. There we found we were signing over our rights and our neighbors' rights and taking on ridiculous liabilities. We visited turbine projects. From those within the projects, the list of rights signed away and collateral damages was lengthy, far-reaching, and all-encompassing. After doing our research, we quickly found out that this would be a bad deal for us, our neighbors, and our community. However, we could have signed to put turbines on a parcel unconnected to our residents. We refused for a number of reasons, not the least of which was respecting my neighbors' rights to property use and value. Meanwhile, by the Wind Corporation, we were baited, bribed, cajoled, and later even coerced and threatened By neighbors, we were badgered. These were neighbors who had not read contracts but had signed them. I understood where they were coming from. It was March and April. They were busy planting spring crops. Who had time for an attorney? And because farmers had conducted business for years solely on trust and rarely were deceived, they were vulnerable to wind company formulas of PR and promises. So why did I tell you my story? First, I was asked to. And secondly, I've seen this issue from someone who thought it was necessary, beneficial, and right to coerce people into living green. And I've seen the issue from a landowner who could have benefited financially. And thirdly, because it parallels others' experiences in this county with wind companies, which has been occurring since 2005, as well as other communities around the state, the nation, and the globe. Fight the Wind citizens have observed that the legal process allows covert infiltration into a community by the wind company, who engage one or more locals as spokespersons or employees, thereby more efficiently networking and persuading innocent, trusting landowners to believe a package of PR spin filled with promises. Interesting, these projects begin in stealth, and often on the road to production of energy might pass through the court systems. Perhaps it's there that jobs are created. And they also create job losses. Case in point, Brown County, Wisconsin health inspector resigned March 4th this year, prior to the release of public documents, which unearthed a November 21st, 2015 email in which she complained of migraines every time she went near the turbines. She had released her conclusions, completely ignored the sworn affidavits representing over 50 ill residents recorded over a year, meticulously gathered and correlated to studies, and also referenced to significant peer reviews agreeing to monitor the turbine site only annually. Shortly after the March 18th release of public documents, the county councilor also resigned. There's also a trickle-down job loss, considering loss of property value and homes, oftentimes abandoned. This formula, seduction and deception by foreign investors, is the same everywhere. Appeals include altruistic purposes of projects coupled with various promises, including financial gain. Save the planet, save your farm, harvest the wind, reduce CO2, temporary and full-time jobs, infrastructure, better roads, be progressive. There's no disadvantages. There's money for landowners, money for schools, money for townships, money for commissioners. Although the spin, PR, and promises of wind are romantic and seductive, the reality is harsh and devastating. And not just to those within an industrial wind project, anybody who buys electricity, anyone who has political or legal responsibilities, anyone who desires to have peaceful, transparent relationships within their community, and anyone who just wants to do anything on their property. Wind energy is intermittent and unreliable. Americans want energy dispatched at the time and point of need. Americans wouldn't rely on their tools, equipment, relationships, or employees that only worked 15 to 20% of the time. Yet Americans are being asked to pay for intermittent wind energy many times over. First, with federal grants and allocated tax credits. The subsidy tracker at goodjobsfirst.com reports that EverPower is 39th on the list of the top 100 recipients of federal grants and allocated tax credits since 2000, receiving 5 subsidies totaling $317 million since their acquisition of EverPower in 2009. In state and local subsidies, EverPower has received $7.5 million. These subsidies, therefore, went to UK-based private equity firm Terra Firma, who acquired EverPower in 2009 and who, in 2005, sought to flip it for $1.5 billion. Saudi Arabia now owns OSU parking, Ohio State University parking. What people group and of what ideology might have access to Scioto Ridge leaseholders' land a year from now? November 3rd, 2005, in Power Source, EverPower's Mr. Spearschneider said EverPower has 13 wind projects in the pipeline not under construction, none having secured long-term customers for their power. Secondly, Americans are paying through state mandates. Wind is intermittent, although state laws support a large portion of wind generation by a certain date. Those mandates in Ohio are currently on a temporary 2-year freeze for reevaluation by economists and energy experts. Americans need on-demand, reliable, at time and place of need, readily dispatched energy. Therefore, wind must be backed by on-demand energy sources. These on-demand energy businesses are on standby if and when wind energy is dispatched, all the while still having the cost of business without the sale of their product. The result, customers pay more for electricity regardless of its source. Terra Firma's own country, UK, is reportedly known for fuel poverty and its resultant deaths. Dr. Calvin Bisner of Cornwall Alliance says, you control energy, you control the people. Thirdly, Americans are paying through local tax abatement. EverPower has hit the media hard lately from Dayton to Lima, stating both that the Logan County Commissioners are or will be considering a pilot payment instead of taxes, and that there are millions for schools, government entities, and the community. Nice pie charts, large monetary figures. PR purposes are obvious. Get the citizens, the schools, the townships, the community services, and you, commissioners, to believe the ship has come in. Get a believing public to pressure you. Set the stage for when the pilot request comes in. After consulting with numerous state experts, Fight the Wind knows the revenue and estimated revenue to those entities is greater over 20 years of the project with taxation, yes, even with the depreciation schedule. And since the depreciation schedule starts over if the company goes ahead and sells, another potential benefit to all the above county entities is a possibility. Pilot is deceptive. I'll give you some of your money that Uncle Sam gave me at your front door while my foreign cronies take more out your back door, and you'll have a full house and Uncle Bobby may freeze to death.
Amen. Yes.
Europe is now aware of the financial loss and devastation of wind energy. It is changing its mandates and ending its subsidies. Logan County has been courted by the bad boyfriends of wind for about 10 years now. There are 10 years more of evidence from industrial wind projects around the state, nation, and globe to inform our citizens what industrial wind development's reality is within a community. And many Logan and Hardin County residents have educated themselves. It is with this education and knowledge, Mr. Wickersham, that Stokes Township residents and the Stokes trustees filed an opposition resolution to the Scioto Ridge project. Russell's Point residents spoke, and the village council filed an opposition resolution to the Scioto Ridge project. Bell Center villagers spoke, and the Bell Center council filed an opposition resolution to the Scioto Ridge project. Richland Township constituents spoke, and Richland trustees filed an opposition resolution to the Scioto Ridge project. Mr. Bayless and Mr. Ford, Rush Creek Township residents spoke, and the Rush Creek trustees filed an opposition resolution to the Scioto Ridge project. Indian Lake, beat EverPower back from the lake. Why? Because our community does not want industrial turbines here. The turbines are now not to be sited near the lake. The makings of that deal are not known to the general public. However, it appears that your constituents in the remaining neighborhoods in Richland and Rush Creek Townships are persons whose lives, property, investment, lifestyle, and health are of lesser value than those nearer to the lake. Will your potential approval of a pilot endorse the differential value of your constituents? And the fractured community spills over into Hardin County when the realization hits that a Logan County school will be receiving some of the Hardin County pilot, all because Hardin County commissioners automatically abated taxes for this project and choosing an alternative energy zone, which it has rescinded this January. Even if the Logan County pilot is not granted, the Logan schools will receive a percentage of Hardin County pilot payments. 18 turbines have been approved for Logan County, sited within Richland and Rush Creek Townships. Of those 18, 7 are on property of non-Logan County residents, 6 of which are on parcels owned by out-of-state entities, and 1 on a parcel owned by an out-of-county Ohio resident. It is easy being green when you're imposing on others' lives with no disadvantages to oneself. The current Ohio turbine setback standard was recently revised to 1,125 feet from non-participating landowners' property lines. Scioto Ridge was grandfathered in at 541 feet to a property line. Regardless, either of such distance is trespass zoning. The plundering of a neighbor's use of their property, property value, safety, peace and quiet, etc. The Scioto Ridge certificate, which may be found on the Ohio OPSB, Ohio Public Site
Power.
website. Thank you. Reads, quote, assuming a maximum turbine height of 492 feet is proposed in the application, this minimum property line setback equates to a distance of 541 feet. The distance between the nearest non-participating property line varies from 549 to 2,637 feet, averaging 1,198 feet, end quote. On what planet is it rational to have a 36-ton blade assembly 400 feet in the air spinning upwards to 180 miles per hour, 541 feet from anyone or anything? Consider blade throw, ice throw, shadow flicker, noise, and infrasound. Those who live next to these things in an EverPower wind, those who live next to an EverPower wind turbine will have that turbine in their bedroom, at breakfast, at supper, and even alongside them in their yard. Which is all fine and dandy if I invited them over, but I didn't. And when someone comes over uninvited and won't leave, I think that's called trespassing. Please don't be an accessory and accomplice to trespass zoning. As Logan County Commissioners, you do not have the power to stop Scioto Ridge from being built, even in Logan County. However, please don't welcome EverPower with granting the payment in lieu of taxes, thereby setting a precedent. The Recorder's website confirms that around the county, landowners are eager to sign leases. The evidence of leases in Monroe and Zane provide a pathway to connecting the Paulding, Van Wert, Auglaize, Hardin, Logan, and Champaign. Blanketing these counties with turbines is the goal, if not of EverPower, then other federal subsidy recipients. To quote Senator John Rogers of Vermont, quote, I know of no place in the state where we can place industrial wind turbines without creating an unacceptable level of damage to our environment and our people. Destroying the natural environment in the name of climate change is moronic, end quote. So while Mr. Dagger just gave you his update on the project, I'm here to give you Fight the Wind's update. They are awake. They are engaged, larger in numbers than ever before, angry and determined to defend their homes, properties, county, townships, and schools, and will never go away until industrial wind goes away. So with that being said, commissioners, citizens, and press, I'm sure you're just like me, sick and tired of wind, sick and tired of having to think about wind, sick and tired of dealing with wind every day. I just want to live my life. I have more important things to do than to be here, and I'm certain that you have more important things to do with your time than deal with wind. All of us are absolutely tired of it. So why are we all here wasting our time? Because a foreign-owned company wants to profit from our nation and our community. They are hoping that you will grant them even more profits. Remember, commissioners, this is our county, this is our township, our homes, our schools. Your constituents have spoken, and the villages and townships near and in this project have written opposition resolutions against the Scioto Ridge project. If EverPower wants to develop our community and harvest our resources to make a profit, they ship back overseas to their parent company. They should do so on our terms, not theirs. Our county deserves the full taxation due from this project.
Amen.
Our county, our townships, our residents should have been part of the process from the beginning, but we were not. Why? Because this business is always started in the dark. If anybody thinks that this will all simmer down and we will slowly go back to sleep, they're sadly mistaken. The outcry and the outrage will increase exponentially as this project starts construction. When our peaceful country roads and rural beauty become an industrial construction zone, the complaints will grow louder. When the turbines are turned on and lives are spun to oblivion, the complaints will be deafening. Our community will become an endless cycle of complaints complaints, arguments, discontent, pain, and heartache. Many in this room have spent hours a week for years keeping up with the economic, legal, health, environmental, agricultural, real estate, etc., aspects of industrial land development. We, your constituents, are doing our due diligence. Please, please do yours. Although many participants in these projects have legally signed away their rights to speak out, many in these projects are going rogue and talking, and some people have never signed, so they are free to talk. Please, please make sure that the road use agreement protects all citizens during construction operation and decommissioning. Make sure the decommissioning plan, irrespective of bankruptcy, is in place. This is not another Honda, Midwest Express, or Vallejo. Look at fightthewind.org to find links to global, national, and regional wind news. Read about the many complex aspects of wind energy. Logan County has a bright, strong future. Please, please do not allow our community to become collateral damage to industrial wind. Your current legacy of construction commissioners is one of honor. Please don't let your legacy become wind turbine commissioners. If turbines are built in this county, the chaos and complaints will continue for years, the hardship and devastation for generations. The seductive bad boyfriend wins, and the beautiful, innocent Logan County is ravaged, unredeemable, unable to wake up from her nightmare. I encourage each here today to visit fightthewind.org. There you will find links to various websites which will inform you about wind, locally, nationally, and internationally. Education is power. Again, thank you for your time. I'd like the wind to speak.
Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Buy the ticket, send a bread home.